So welcome again to the Fit Kids training. We didn't get a chance to go around, but I kind of wanted to wait actually to this part because we're going to do a lot more group work. So I thought maybe refreshing names would be a good time to do it now. So we're just going to go around the room. Please introduce yourself, where you're from, your favorite fitness activity, and maybe what grade levels you work with. I think it'd be good to just hear what grade levels in case you want to kind of touch base with somebody. Do you mind starting?
Sure.
Awesome, nice and loud.
My name is Jen.
So for all of our new folks, I'm going to go through our curriculum. For some of you guys that are returning, this is very familiar to you except for some of the new items that we just added, and I'll tell you what we've taken out and what we've put in. So I have everything up here listed. I'm going to come over here to this corner and show you guys what is what. All right, short cones. We all seen short cones. Usually you use it for like speed and agility stuff. So these are your short cones. You guys are getting 36 of them. There's so many ways that you're going to be able to use this in the curriculum. You'll notice when we go through the curriculum, it'll say to use short cones as a boundary. So if you have a space like this that doesn't have lines like a basketball or a football field, you can definitely utilize the cones as your boundary so that kids aren't running all over campus when you say go. They're staying within your cone. So that's how you guys can use these. Bean bags, pretty self-explanatory. There's a lot of fun stuff that's going to happen with these bean bags. You'll see them a lot in the obstacle courses. I think there's an activity where you stand in a hoop and the kids have to throw it up in the air and do a jumping jack before the bean bag comes back down. They jump to the next one and they have to do a push-up before the bean bag comes down. Actually, it's not a push-up, I think it's a squat. I don't think they can get off the floor that fast and catch the bean bag, but we'll see. So that's how you guys will use bean bags. There's tic-tac-toe with the bean bags, which is a really fun game. Renewing partners, how many of your kids like the tic-tac-toe game? Yeah, I know that. See, awesome. I would love to hear about that. We've changed that up a little bit too, so we're giving you guys more hula hoops this year to actually create the grids for the tic-tac-toe game, but that tends to be a favorite. So for all of our new partners, your kids are probably really going to love tic-tac-toe. All right, polydots. Does everybody know what a polydot is? I didn't know until I started Fit Kids last year. These are your polydots. Again, used a lot in the obstacle courses, the relay races. My experience going to our innovation sites, which is where we send coaches, one of my coaches gave me a really, really good idea, and I may or may not have shared it with you depending on when you started last season. But I have a coach that uses these to kind of keep the kids in line when he's doing warm-ups. And so you'll get 24. What he does is he throws out the polydots in front of him. So when the kids come out, they automatically know to jump on a polydot instead of your kids kind of just running everywhere. I'm sure you have more structure than your kids just running everywhere, but he throws them out and the kids automatically know. The minute you run to Coach Smith's class, you jump on a polydot. He'll start his warm-ups on the polydots, so the kids will stand. They'll do their jumping jacks, and then to make it a little more fun is he gets the kids to change polydots. And so what he'll say after he puts them all out, he'll say, okay, change polydots, and it gets the kids moving a little bit more. And I think after a while, I've seen kids like kind of get bored and they start picking up the polydots and playing with them and playing ultimate frisbee with them. So a good way to use these when you're doing warm-ups is to get kids to stand on them and change them around. Another idea is to put one less for the amount of kids you have in your class. And it's like musical chairs, right? Whoever doesn't get a polydot is the exercise leader for the day or for that exercise. You can decide how you want to do it. So if me and Coach Smith are trying to chase the purple polydot and he doesn't get it, then he gets to lead the exercise, whatever the coach says it is for that day. And then you change it up again. You'll say, okay, change polydots. And then maybe somebody else missed out and now they're the new leader of the exercises for the day. So that is a great way to use these polydots other than just using them in the obstacle courses that we'll show you. Does that make sense? Yeah, questions? No? Okay. Waist flags. Let's see, I'm not gonna attempt to put this waist flag on because it's not my size. But we are giving you guys 2 color waist flags. Obviously, these are going to be for their capture the flag game. We're giving you 2 colors. I believe there are some games where everybody can wear, everybody just needs a waist flag. So you'll notice that we're giving you 2 colors. Color A is red, color B is only 12. Depending on the game, and the instructions are pretty clear, it'll tell you if everybody needs the same color waist flag or if you need to split it up and do 12 and 12. I'm curious, how many kids do you guys typically have in your classes? Anybody over 25? You guys have a really big school. How many kids do you guys have in your class, like each time?
Biggest class is like 50. I have 54.
Whoa. Wow. How many do you guys have?
Our biggest would be 60 something. They all come out by grades.
Come out by grades. Interesting. Where else? Somebody else? Yeah.
I have about 30.
30 per class?
Yeah, my third graders are 30, 32.
30, 32. Okay, good to know. All right. Let's move on to pennies. So we're giving you guys pennies. I apologize, there are 2 different colors. You're actually getting the same color. There's no need for 2 different colors. Obviously, if you don't have a penny on, you're on the opposite team. But these are pennies. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with pennies. Dodgeballs. There is a couple different dodgeball games in there. You're also going to use them in the obstacle courses for some different things. But we all know, right? Pennies and dodgeballs. Okay. You guys are going to get some tall cones. Again, you can use these for boundaries if you have to. Just because we tell you to use it in the obstacle course doesn't mean you can't, make use of it in some other way when you use our curriculum. Let's see, we also have measuring tapes. So these are 100 feet. You're definitely not going to have kids running 100 feet shuttles. So, but I just like that it's nice and big. The kids like to help when setting up obstacle courses. The kids like to kind of use these too. But when you do the shuttle runs, you can use this to measure accurately. Again, kids, I'll talk to you more later about how to utilize kids to help you set up your obstacle courses, just to get them a little more involved. Let's run back over here. Let's see. You guys are going to get a mesh bag. We are giving you this really big body bag. I'm not going to call it a duffel bag because it's pretty much a body bag. And this is not, once it's filled, it is not something that you want to lug around. Do not put children in this, please. I saw you guys talking. That's how I knew. I knew where you were going with it. You guys are all going to get a bag like this full of equipment. It is very, 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 very heavy. I might be able to lift it now that I've put it in and out of my Suburban many, many times, but it is very, very heavy, and it does not make any sense for you guys to be lugging this equipment around all day long. So we're going to give you guys mesh bags so that you can simply drop in whatever items you need for that day in the bag, throw it on your shoulder, and you can go. Or you can have the kids help you move stuff around. Playground balls. This is going to be used not necessarily for Foursquare, which is kind of a thing right now, but you're going to use this in some of the obstacle courses. Soccer balls. I know we have 2-ball soccer and I think 4-goal soccer, so you guys will get some soccer balls. These are the same. These are ankle bands. I know there's some 3-legged racing that's going to happen. I believe there's some exercises where the kids will have to put the ankle bands on and do jumping jacks. So you'll get a set of 4. Am I missing anything? Yeah. I'll show you guys the new stuff last. Agility ladders. We all know how to use agility ladders. I know our football people probably know how to use these. I don't have the right shoes on. Many different ways to use this agility ladder, not just walking through it. David has put this really awesome battle rope around. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the kids, this is probably the favorite equipment of the kids because there's so many different things, different ways you can use it. I think kids are used to kind of the fitness way, right? This arm exercise. We don't do that with the kids. We use it for tug of war, because tug of war is just much more fun than exercising, right? We use this for tug of war. I think actually that's the only reason why we use it. But I have had schools that improvise a little bit because the kids they see adults doing this, so they want to do it too. And that's totally fine. I just ask that you make sure the kids are safe when they do it, especially if they don't know how to do it properly. Make sure they're not throwing it. Make sure kids aren't running in and out of it. It's not a jump rope. It's not double dutch. It is a battle rope. So just watch out when your kids are using this heavy item. You guys are gonna get hurdles. Hurdles will come up in the obstacle courses. And because I have it in my hand, I wanna bring it up. They're the tic-tac-toe game, and we can talk about it a little bit later. The tic-tac-toe game is pretty simple. It literally requires kids to run up to a grid of hula hoops and play tic-tac-toe with actual beanbags. My coach last year decided to make it a little harder for the kids, and he set up an obstacle course with hurdles before the kids actually got to the grid. So instead of just running, he was really making them work. I've seen the kids have to crawl under them and then like jump through other hula hoops. I've seen him set up short cones and the kids had to do figure eights before they got to the actual grid. And it was really just a way to get the kids moving more, get their heart rates going. So when you do get to that point where you're playing the tic-tac-toe game, remember that you don't have to just run. You don't have to set it up so that your kids are just running straight to the grid. You can actually set up an obstacle course for your kids before they get to it. And I did put that in the book as another way to set up the game. And then we have this really fun, you guys probably all remember it from when you guys were all in school, parachutes. Really, there's only one way to use this parachute, which is up in the air, back down. There's games that require the kids to run through them, run around them. Pretty self-explanatory how to use this. Be careful, the kids, when they use it, I've seen kids get wrapped up in it. I'm sure some of you have seen that too. And it is not breathable material, so just be very careful if it's out that the kids are not playing with it and wrapping each other up and putting them in the body bag, so just be very careful. All right, new equipment. We took out, from some feedback that we got last year, we took out the jump ropes. Why do you think I took out the jump ropes? Just curious if anybody has an idea. You may have already heard my reason, but anybody have an idea why we took out jump ropes? Anybody want to guess? Dangerous. I got a phone call from one of my coaches that said, Navita, they are using the jump ropes as weapons. And I said, oh, okay then. Well, let's teach them how to jump rope, but that was taking a little too long. A lot of kids, and I don't know how you guys are in Vegas or LA, like, do your kids know how to jump rope? Right? Did you guys do jump rope for heart when you guys were in school? I did. Kids do not know how to jump rope. I don't know, I mean, they just don't know how to jump rope. So we decided to take out a couple things. Again, it being dangerous was my main concern. Kids were literally like doing this with them, and we've had some accidents.
Some had them tucking jump ropes in their pants and having other kids run around and step on them. And I never did that. It
Yeah.
just never sounded good.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was a problem.
So yes, so we took them out, and thank you, Mary, because you were also somebody that you are somebody that had given feedback about jump ropes, and so we did hear you, and we did take them out, and we added kettlebells, right? More dangerous. No. So we added 5-pound kettlebells for K5. We added 10-pound kettlebells for 6-8. Some 4th and 5th graders may be able to pick up this 10-pound kettlebell. It's really up to you. If you feel your kids can be safe with a 10-pound kettlebell. Otherwise, primary school, you guys have the little one, so you will get this very cute pink light 5-pound kettlebell. Please be very, very, very careful with the equipment. Don't leave it unattended. If stuff like this is heavy and it's dangerous, do not leave it unattended. If you have to step away, take these with you. Just because you never know. Kids are very unpredictable, right? So please be very, very careful when you're leaving equipment out. We also took out the medicine balls. we wanted to try something a little new this year. So we put in sand bells. Anyone ever really worked with sand bells? Yeah. K5, you guys are going to get 6-pound sand bells. 6-8, you guys are getting 10-pound kettlebells, sand bells. I'm sorry. If you have K8, you're going to get both sets. Same with the kettlebells. You'll get all of it. So heavy, heavy equipment. Again, be careful. These things are heavy. Be careful with kids tossing these because there's an exercise where they're going to stand on each side of the agility ladder and they're going to have to gently toss it to each other. If you feel like 6-8, maybe they need to go a little lighter. Do the light until you feel like they're ready for 10 pounds. So definitely use it how you see fit for your site. But just be careful that kids are not chucking these at each other. It is a gentle underthrow. So be very, very careful. Questions about equipment? No, I'm excited for you guys to get your equipment. There are some things, unfortunately, that are on back order. My hope was to bring all of your equipment, whether you were a new site or a returning site, with me, but I want to make sure you get the full set. So I don't have any equipment with me today. I actually have your guys's because your set came in. And my plan next week will be to connect with all of you guys to give you your equipment, whether it's something you're missing and we're replacing it, or it's a whole new set, and your curriculum books. And so before we jump in, let me just tell you what's happening with the curriculum books. We ran into some formatting issues when it went to print. So we had to pull it off the print line, fix it, send it back, wait for it to come back in, make sure it was right, and then send it back. So I was told this morning, Ashley said this morning, that everything is ready to go. It's literally being printed as we speak. They'll be ready next week. So I will contact you guys, whether it's you personally or Dawn or whoever. I know Dawn wants me to send equipment straight to the school, and then I will ship your books over. So if you're in the Bay Area, I'm happy to drop by with your equipment and your books. If you're in LA, I will ship it to you guys. I will contact you first to know who I should send it to. Does that work?
Is it updated online?
It will be updated online. Ashley is calling our web designer to have him post everything online. It should be there soon. I'll just go ahead and talk about it now since you brought it up. I'm going to show you guys today how to use the web portal. Everyone's going to have their own password. Everything will be online. Once everything is online, I will again email you guys individually with how to log in, a video on how to log in, so written instructions, a video, and your new password. I wanted to change passwords just because sometimes you have staff members that have left and still try to use their program, and we want to make sure that if your site is paying for it, it is specifically for your site and your site only. So we did change the passwords a little bit just to make sure that it is specifically for you and your site and nobody else is using it. So I will email you guys and let you know your password and how to access the portal online, even after I show it to you today. Questions? No? Yeah?
So for the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
let's say that we were using it, for the curriculum and something ends up like ripping or anything like that, would we get replacements?
Yeah, so just give me a call and let me know what it happens. We get it. It happens when we use our equipment with our innovation site. So just send me an email. If I have something in my warehouse, I will go ahead and just ship it to you guys. Otherwise, we'll figure out how to get it to you. Take good care of the equipment. It's not cheap. That's really where our cost is the equipment. It's coming to you guys for free. I trust that you guys are all taking care of your equipment, but again, I understand things happen. But just take extra care of the equipment so that it can last you for the year and hopefully to the year after. And did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Any other questions? And you guys all have my business card, so you guys can always contact me and let me know if you guys need help with equipment. No? All right, you guys ready to look at this curriculum? Okay, so last year, the curriculum the framework was a little bit different. The focuses were different. Last year, our focuses included hand-eye coordination, teamwork, communication, a couple others. And we decided to just change things up this year. And so our 4 fitness focus areas are going to be upper body and core, lower body core, upper body and agility, lower body and agility. And you're gonna see these focuses repeat kind of every 4. So once you get to lower body and agility, you'll see it go back up to upper body and core, and it'll repeat. And then it'll go back up to upper body and core and repeat for 50 classes. The framework, on your desk are sample classes. Everyone has a different class because I wanted some variety in here. So if you kind of just scanning through it, you're gonna notice a section for warm-ups. Those warm-ups are going to change. It's not gonna be the same warm-ups. Last year in the curriculum, we allowed you guys to pick which warm-ups you wanted to do. And what I noticed when I did site visits, and it happened, I swear, every single school I went to, I said, oh, well, what are your favorite warm-ups? And they said, oh, the top 3. And I said, okay, well, what else do you do? And they said, oh, just the top 3. And I said, okay, well, let's change it up a little bit. We're gonna tell you guys what warm-ups to do based off of the other activities in the lesson and the fitness focus area. I want your kids to learn different movements and different warm-ups. I don't want them doing the top 3 every time because they get too comfortable and used to that. So this year we're gonna tell you guys what warm-ups to do. The next would be fitness stations and games. A little similar to warm-ups, but they'll be doing a little bit more moving where the warm-ups are more, I told you guys you could use your poly dots in this situation where you just lay them out. The fitness stations are gonna be moving around a little bit more. We'll go into that in more detail later. Obstacle courses and relays. Each class will be either an obstacle course or a relay, not both. It's too much for the kids. So you'll notice that will kind of rotate every other. There's gonna be a PE game. For the PE games, if you are a K-8 school, you're gonna get 3 books. You're gonna get a K-2 book, you're gonna get a 3-5 book, and you're gonna get a 6-8 book. If you're new partner, these are what our books look like. This is the old book, so please don't, when you get your book, say, oh, that doesn't look like the book, because this is last year's book. But these are basically what the books look like. This is a 6-8 book. If you are a K-2 school, you're only gonna get K-2. If you're a K-5, you're only gonna get K-2, 3-5. The books are pretty much exactly the same except for one thing, the PE game. There are some PE games that are not appropriate for K-2. There are some games that are too childish for 6-8. So the only difference in the books are some of the PE games. A lot of them are the same, but some of them are different. If you have a K-8 school and you find a K-2, 3-5 game that you're like, oh, my middle school kids would love this, do it. As long as you think they can handle it and they're not gonna think, oh, this is too childish, then do it, that's fine. And same going the other way. If you have a 6-8 game that you think you can maybe make some changes to for K-2, 3-5 and they can handle it, by all means, go for it, okay? Something new that we're adding is yoga. And the doctor talked about this, about mindfulness and yoga. We added mindfulness and yoga in this year. We've noticed that schools are starting to kind of do it more in the schools. I understand that some of you guys might not really have a facility where you can do yoga. Maybe you don't have a safe place or ground to do it. We're gonna give you the option to either do yoga or cool down stretches. I've had some teachers say, I don't feel comfortable doing yoga. That's okay. Our hope is to work up to you being able to do it with your kids, but there is the option to do the cool down stretches. But we do have videos for everything. So if you don't know how to do the yoga component, you won't have the excuse of I don't know how to do it because I'm gonna show you where to find it. All right? Questions about the framework? No? You guys are a quiet group. Okay, so let's just look at this curriculum a little bit more. Again, you guys should all have a copy in front of you so you can look at it. For each class, there are 5 units, 10 classes per unit. So a total of 50 classes. The classes are about an hour long. Because we added that mindfulness piece in there, it may be like an hour and 30 seconds, an hour 45 seconds, maybe an hour, maybe 61 minutes, just depending on what grade level and that mindfulness. So for K2, the mindfulness is about 30 seconds. For 3-5, the mindfulness is 45 seconds. And then for 6-8, the mindfulness is a minute. So that's why I say a minute 30, a minute 45, and 61 minutes. You'll see at the top, it'll tell you the fitness focus area for the day, obviously what grade level you're working with. And then we start with telling you what class equipment you are gonna need to complete that class. Again, I told you, I don't want you guys having to drag this big body bag out to the yard every day. So we will tell you what equipment you're gonna need in order to get through the entire class. So you can just throw it in your mesh bag and go. You will start with warm-ups. So I kind of touched upon this a little bit with the polydots. Your kids will start with warm-ups. Does anybody want to show us what a walking arm circle looks like? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, exactly. So arm circles. We say walking because you can have what I think it says in the video is you can line your kids up in 4 rows and they can do it to the end. So they're walking to the end and they would turn around and walk back to the next line. So it's really on you how you set up your warm-ups. You can lay out polydots. You can do 3, 4, 5 lines, groups, going to an end cone and coming back. It's really how you see fit for your class. High kicks. Anybody want to do some high kicks? I'm going to make you guys work today, so I hope you're ready. Let's do this. High kicks. Yep. Yep, exactly. Perfect. Thank you, Ken. Knee hugs. Anyone?
Is that a standing knee hug?
Uh-huh. Or you could do it walking. Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Go for it. Get up and moving. Yeah, yep, yep. And I won't make you guys do bear crawls, but I think we all know what bear crawls are. Feedback that I've gotten in the past is that some kids aren't maybe comfortable with bear crawls or you don't have the space. You can break it down to just do 3 of the exercises instead of the bear crawls. I have gotten a lot of feedback that just said we do not have like safe ground for kids to do bear crawls and they stand up. So it just depends on the space that you have. But I hope that you guys your kids can do the bear crawls. Okay. Fitness stations. What does a fitness station look like? I'd love to hear from a renewing partner how you run your fitness stations.
I think it's
Anybody?
like in like a square, and then they'll be marked with each cone.
Mhm.
Just kind of walk through it for those couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna keep rotating. So just as they get to the cone, they do the exercise that's marked.
Yeah.
on the cone. So I think that's the easiest way.
That's perfect. We give you instructions on how to run the fitness stations. Exactly what he just said. Our suggestion is you set up 4 cones in a square or a rectangle. What I would suggest, because for the younger kids, they may not remember what a fitness movement is at each cone, and then you kind of have to remind them. I would say the easiest way to solve that problem is simply just write it on a piece of paper and tape it to the cone. And it can say stand-up bicycle so that when the kids get to the cone, they know what that exercise is, and it'll allow you just to move around your group more than having to say, for every group that comes through, this is stand-up bicycles. So you would set up 4 cones, 30 seconds each. So what will happen is if you have a timer, each kid, you'll break your kids up into groups, they'll get to a cone, 30 seconds doing stand-up bicycles. And then you'll say rotate. Does anybody have a megahorn by any chance? You guys can yell through. You guys do? Awesome. You guys are lucky that you have it. Yeah.
So we have the seconds app, set the time, and then
Yeah.
transition time. I play music or you get the kids.
Awesome. Music is always great when you're doing warm-ups and the fitness stations. It just gets the kids moving. So whether you blow a whistle or you have it's called the Make app, right? The Seconds app? The Seconds app where it breaks it down. And it does it every, like, whatever your intervals are, right? So if you download the Seconds app and you set it for 30 seconds, it'll just keep going 30 seconds every time. So you can blow a whistle. They'll move to the next one, which would be high kicks. The group would do high kicks until you blow the whistle or the app goes off, and you move on to the next. it's going to start at 30 seconds until you get to about class 34, which is in unit 3, unit 4. And then it's going to jump to 40 seconds. So when you kind of get to that class 30-ish, just make sure you read at the bottom where it says, I'll come and I'll point it out for you guys. Right here where it says 30 seconds, just kind of be aware that this is going to change later on in the units, okay? Tug of war. It is the first game because it's one of the favorites. After you guys do your fitness stations, you guys will move on to tug of war. Transitioning. How do you guys do with transitioning? Do your kids, are they easy transitions? Do you guys have transition getters? Whether it's a holy guacamole or a ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, or a 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Do you guys have to use transition getters just to
You have to
get the attention getters? I'm sorry.
And then tell them to go.
Tell them what's next.
Yeah.
Yes. You're going to need attention getters and all that for any time you transition with kids. Otherwise, you have just a group of kids not knowing what to do. So many ways you could do it. You could explain it in the beginning, but you're probably going to have to explain again what the next step is. I think for kids, breaking things down into smaller pieces is a lot better. First, we're going to start with fitness stations, and then I'll tell you what's next. I guess we'll move on to tug of war. The fitness stations, again, all the exercises, movements are going to be different every couple classes, and the games are going to be different. Some will repeat, some won't, but we try to keep the kids moving, keep the kids from getting bored, change things up on the kids. If there are activities that the kids like, movements that the kids like, and you're like, you know what, they didn't really like this one, but they really like this one, by all means, do it. Whatever keeps the kids moving. So if they're not going to do bear crawls, fine. What do you want to do? What exercise would you guys like to do? Let's just keep them moving. Remember, that's our goal. Questions about this stuff? Any renewing partners? Anything you guys want to share about what works, what didn't work for your site with warm-ups and fitness stations and games? Tug of war. How did the kids do with the rope and hands? I could see kids saying, my hands are burning.
They actually do okay. I don't think
Okay.
they really pull hard enough to.
Okay.
It usually goes pretty quick.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes.
All right.
But they get excited about watching each other when there's a good matchup.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win.
Yeah.
And they also go, can we do it against you?
Yeah, not a good idea. Yeah, definitely do not put adults on one side and kids on another. That's probably not a good idea. Mary, do you mind, is there anything that really works for your
Well, I
site?
just know, like, for me, when I look at this, I really love this new layout, by the way. I only have my kids for 50 minutes, so there's always something that has to go.
Yes.
And tug of war has never been really successful, and just, to me, I want as many kids involved in something as possible.
Yeah.
And I do have 2 groups, so on days, because they do love it, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't like to have 10 kids sitting, watching 8 kids do something.
Yeah.
So sometimes, for time constraints, like that would be something I would have to pull for that day.
Yeah.
Just because I only have the 50 minutes.
Okay. And so let's talk about what would happen when you don't have enough time. You don't have the full hour. Thank you for bringing up that you only have 50 minutes. You can most definitely, so we say you could do warm-ups for 5 minutes. I would stick with warm-ups for 5 minutes. But for the fitness stations, you don't, if you only have 50 minutes, then maybe Mary's only going to run fitness stations for 10 minutes. Maybe she's going to do 5 minutes of the actual stations and 5 minutes of the game so that she doesn't have to cut something out. Okay, so just because we say 20 minutes, it's really because we run our coaching classes in East Palo Alto for a full 60 minutes, but you guys adjust how you need to. I'm not going to bring it up I will. Let's say, I'm curious, how much time do you guys have to run your classes? Like, how much time do you guys get?
I get 35 minutes.
35, ooh, 35, okay.
A little bit out.
Okay, how much time will you guys have?
In an ideal world, it would be an hour, but there is
Right.
a transition.
Right, right.
So probably be more realistic, like 50.
50 minutes? Okay. How about you guys?
Every class is different. It's 35, 45, 55, and then it's based on the kids, so there's always like 5 or 7 minutes less because
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah, no, I get it. I worked at a school for 14 years. I get it. I totally get it. How about you guys?
We have 30 minutes.
30 minutes. You don't count? How about you guys?
40.
40? Okay. That's a good time. How much is
half
Kip?
of mine are 35, half are 30.
Okay.
Saying 50.
Okay. Okay. How much time do you guys have? An hour, because you guys are after school. And how much time do you have?
For the K, 30, and third through 6 is 45 and 50 minutes.
Okay. So I want to get through the curriculum, and then I'll show you guys how to break this up so that you can fit stuff in 30 minutes. You may not get through a full class, and for some of you that have 30 minutes, it may take you 2 days to run one class, and I will show you guys how that works. Are you guys already doing that?
That's what I'm
Awesome. Cool. You guys should be up here teaching, not me. Maybe next year. Okay. So after your kids are all excited about tug of war, we're going to keep them moving, right? So we're going to jump into relay races. And just remember that just because class 1 is relay races, class 2 is going to be obstacle courses. It's every other. We wrote down the instructions, but I understand, because I am one of them, that some of you are more visual. So we have written how to set up the relay race, and we've also shown you pictures. It comes in handy when you have kids that maybe are not having a really great day or are just really not feeling comfortable about doing a certain type of exercise. This is a great way to get kids involved, is having them help you set up your relay race or your obstacle course. I've seen kids say, oh, my stomach hurts. I just had my, our East Palo Alto schools, the kids get supper at 3:15, like a light supper. And they say, oh, I ate too much for supper, I don't want to do it. And then they get to the relay race and they're like, oh, well, can I set it up? It's like, well, if you can set it up, you can do it. So it's the coach's way of saying, yep, you know what, set it up and then lead it. And it's just a way to get kids involved and take on the kind of that leadership role. But the relay races are really fun. I love, love, love the fact that we show you what it looks like. I think it just helps you to understand kind of what the kids are going to be getting into. Another great thing about it is if you are one staff to 60 kids, you can have your kids set up your courses for you by simply giving them a sheet with the diagram and saying, I need you to set this up exactly the way it shows in the diagram. I think most kids, they see it, they can get it done, but it just allows kind of extra hands for you if you need to run your class, to have everything listed. Questions about relay races?
What's your take on, like, when kids are kind of waiting in line to run the next obstacle course or relay or whatever, kind of keeping them moving there?
Yep.
If they can do push-ups or running in place or something, is that preferred? Or
Yeah, so,
do they want to rest?
yeah, we never want them to rest. They don't need rest, right? They're kids, they don't need to rest. So a lot of the relay races, a couple answers, way to answer that. So most of the relay races and the obstacle courses allows for 2 kids to go at the same time so that the lines are moving a lot faster. If you happen to have more equipment because you're a returning partner, you could set up multiple courses just to make sure the kids are moving a lot faster and there's not a lot of kids in line. If your kids are in line, because you have 60 kids in line waiting, they could do jumping jacks, they could do squats while they're waiting. You could definitely utilize like the warm-ups and some of the fitness station movements, and that the kids have to do that in line. Some schools will turn it into a competition. That sometimes keeps kids focused because instead of chit-chatting, they're kind of trying to move pretty quickly. Anybody want to give suggestions on like what you do if you have kids in line? I've noticed breaking it up into smaller groups is very helpful. Yeah, I'll come back to you
So
guys.
if we're doing stuff like relays, if I split them up, because I have 50 kids, I split them up into about 4 lines and have 2 go at the same time on each side. And then, so while the kids are standing in line, I'll say, all right, everyone in line, jumping jacks until it's their turn and they go. And then like after 30 seconds or 45 seconds, I switch it to something else.
Yep.
Hey, we're gonna do squats now, or we're gonna jump left and right over the line and just keep them moving. That way it's not somebody talking.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump over here. were you guys gonna say different?
Yeah, so I'll do one of two things. I either do like a surprise like whistle, and every time I whistle, I'll have them like do a certain exercise. Usually it's like jumping jacks or high knees. Or at the end, once like if it's like a relay race and once they come back, then everybody in that line will have to do like push-ups or a certain exercise before they send somebody else going.
Yeah.
And that way everybody kind of gets a little bit of exercise going.
Yeah, if you're doing a competition, and not to add to it, but you know, you could do. And I say it because I've seen it, where if the row is not, everyone's not doing jumping jacks, there's like a 5-second delay before the next person gets to start. The kids don't like that, so then they're encouraging everybody, right, to do jumping jacks or squats or whatever the exercise is, because they don't want that 5-second delay because the other team didn't get that 5-second delay. So that could be something you can use in your group. Anybody else want to share? Mary, do you?
Well, my big thing on any of this stuff is just team sportsmanship.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I always double whatever this is, maybe because this is our 4th year and we have the equipment, so I would have 4. But kids have to be encouraging to the others. They need to clap.
Absolutely.
I always require the high fives as they go back and get in line. Everybody
Absolutely.
on the team needs to high five them. So that way it makes them participate and still feel like they're part of a team.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. That's great. All right, any other questions about relay races? No? Okay. The PE games. So I had mentioned that there's a difference in some of the PE games. Again, if you're going to get all 3 curriculum books, because you have K-8, you're going to notice that most of the games are the same. But I think there's one game for K-2 where they have to like lay on the floor like a crying baby. And I thought, well, that's probably not going to work for 6-8. They're not going to do that. So instead of the crying baby tag, I think middle school has crocodile tag, where they have to get in like plank position like a crocodile. So you'll notice that. But if for whatever reason you feel like 6-8 can handle crying like a baby, then go for it. But the games are going to be a little different depending on the grade level that you're working with. This is another time to just really encourage sportsmanship. A lot of the games are kind of like going up against each other. And again, Ashley had talked about how you know, this is kind of helping to prepare kids for sports, and sportsmanship when you start competitive sports is so important. So we are looking to you guys to definitely encourage sportsmanship using these fitness games that they're going to be doing before students really kind of start putting their foot into competitive sports. So take a look at your PE games. Let me know if you guys have any questions. There is one piece I'm going to bring up, because when we created the curriculum, the question was brought up of, what does it mean when we say everyone is it? Remember that question, David? What does it mean when we tell you in a game, everyone is it? Just that, right? Everyone is it. What does that mean? How do you encourage kids to play that? Somebody had asked me, like, how do you get kids to actually tag somebody? And I said, well, you really just have to say, look, you're it, but you can also be tagged. So at this point, it's a speed thing, right? Like, who's going to tag me before I get tagged? Because what we've seen is some kids will just stand there like, oh, I don't want to get tagged, but it's like, but you still have to tag somebody. So encourage your kids to get in the game. You got to try to get tagged before you have to tag before somebody tags you. That's what we mean when we say everyone is it. Some folks that I've trained were like, I have no idea what that means. I don't even know how to play that. Everyone's it. And I played with them and I said, that's how you play. Don't get tagged by me. You got to tag me first. So, but do me a favor, just take a look at your game. See if you have any questions about it. I'm here to answer questions. I noticed when we did the curriculum that the PE games are kind of the items that may have the most questions, because we're literally trying to tell you how to play. We can't show you, although maybe a game of freeze tag in our office would be kind of fun to do and put on video for you guys. But we tried our absolute best to try to explain in words the best that we could how to play the games. But if you don't understand, you guys know that you can call me and just say, hey, Navita, we cannot figure this game out. So please, please, please talk us through this. What does this look like? And then we'll play in the office, record it, and send it to you.
You know what I didn't reach out to you enough about was the either warm-ups. Yeah, it was like warm-ups or just different movements.
Yeah.
I tried going to the front of or whatever, looking at the glossary, looking for the definition of terms for some of these.
Yep.
Because,
So
yeah.
you didn't access the online portal, which had the
There it is.
videos.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to show you
There
guys
it
how to. I am going to show you after lunch how to access the online portals, which have the videos. So that, you know, if you've been a teacher in a classroom, they always say, like, ask 3 people before you ask the teacher. So I'm going to tell you guys, have you checked, have you read it? Have you looked at the picture? Have you checked our online portal? And then if you say, yes, 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 I still don't know, then you can call me. Luckily, I don't have to pay for my calls. So. All right, so I'm going to move on. Nobody has any questions about the games and the relays or obstacles? Pretty self-explanatory, right? Okay. All right, so here's where our mindfulness and our yoga comes in. So we had Courtney, who is our yoga instructor now, our Fit Kids yoga instructor, create some yoga stretches for you guys based off the fitness focus. So the fitness focus for this one was, I believe, upper body and core, and so the yoga stretches will be based on upper body and core movements. Again, this is all going to be online. You will be able to watch a video of Courtney doing the yoga stretches, correct? Correct. Mindfulness, she's going to talk you through it, correct? Correct. So when you see yoga, and if you're like, oh my God, I don't think anybody said yoga in here, huh, as a fitness? Did you? You did. So for others that are like, I've really never done yoga before, it's okay. We'll show you how to do it. You can practice it before. You can have kids join you to practice it and help you lead the class. So please don't stress when we see yoga. So mindfulness, we had talked about, the doctor had talked about students and mindfulness and really just quieting the mind. A lot of students have a lot of things going on at home sometimes, and there's just a lot of stresses that they don't talk about. And sometimes it's hard to just shut that all off sometimes, especially when you're at school and you need to focus. So this mindfulness piece will really come into handy with just teaching kids how to quiet themselves, kind of turn all the stresses and stuff off in their mind, and just really kind of focus on them. Courtney's going to go through some breathing. So here it says that the kids should be at arm's length, students should be calm and quiet. In an ideal world, that would be very easy to do, right? Get your kids calm and quiet. Again, this is where attention getters will have to come into place for you guys of getting the kids to calm down. When I first started working at a school, I was really adamant about like, shh, don't say a single thing. And then after a while, after like the second, third year, I realized, okay, it's okay if it's a little noisy because that's the best that they can do. So are the kids always going to be calm? No. Are they always probably going to be poking or touching or doing something? Probably. You know your kids best. If there's kids that can stand calm and quiet, that's fine. But if Joe next to you needs to wiggle a little bit and that's his calm and quiet, then okay. Don't expect all your kids to be calm and quiet. Mindfulness will happen for 30 seconds. So this says bell ringing, and I understand we are not giving you bells to ring. You guys can use other forms of just trying to get their attention. I know there's apps that have bells. There's an app for everything. Everything. So if you are, maybe you want to create like a Fit Kids folder on your phone now and have a seconds app and a bell app and a megahorn app, go for it. But again, do what works for your site, what you guys have access to. We kind of give you content of what to say to the kids. Again, we're working on just getting them to quiet their minds, get them to turn off all those stresses that are going on, and just really focus on them. This can help during testing time of teaching the kids how to just kind of turn it all off and get focused. Again, Courtney has videos on the mindfulness stuff that you'll be able to watch. Let me see. We're not going to be talking fast during the mindfulness, right? You need to be calm and quiet. Not going to be yelling at them like this, trying to get everybody to be quiet. No, no, no. You just want to use a soft voice when you're talking to the kids. Again, it's just getting them to kind of be in the present, right? And not worried about everything else. Questions about mindfulness? No, I know Courtney did some really good recording about it, so I don't think it's up yet on the website. I don't think Alex has put it up, but it should be up soon. And I would not, when we do the online portal, I would not look at the mindfulness and yoga the day you're going to use it. I would do a lead up, so look at it maybe a week before so you can prepare for it a little bit better. Because if you've never done mindfulness and yoga with your students and then you watch a video that day, you might be like, whoa, what is this? So give yourself a day or two before you actually implement it with your kids. Yeah.
So the mindfulness instructions are not contained in video. They're only written in the curriculum books. There are some videos that show some poses, the Wonder Woman and Superman poses that are referenced in the mindfulness. But for the yoga, they're full 4-minute to 5-minute for each of the 4 fitness focuses, upper body agility, etc. If you've got the capacity in a classroom or what have you, you can play those videos. Otherwise, you would want to get pretty well versed in them yourself,
Yeah.
and that is going to take a little bit of practice. Not that you need to actually be able to do all the yoga moves, but to understand how to convey the information to the kids. It's going to take a few minutes, or a couple of different sessions to really kind of internalize how to instruct the kids in that.
Right. Questions about that? No? So with the stretching, David had mentioned, just kind of taking time to get the kids into it. So with the stretching piece, let's just kind of start with the setup. So again, putting your kids at arm's length. So as we're going through the yoga stretches, you're going to notice yoga breaths. So who knows what a yoga breath is? It's not your typical breath.
Belly breath,
Okay.
right?
It's a what?
Belly breath, down your belly.
Belly breath or belly breath, yeah. Anything else? We're very specific in there. So one breath is 4 counts in, 4 counts out. So let's try it. So 4 counts in, and then out for 4 seconds. At first, you're probably going to have to count this for the kids because I've seen kids go 4 times. That's not what it is. So as their coach, you will need to show the kids what that means. What is 4 counts in? And like I was doing for you guys might have to count for them so they know when to let it in, to take it in, and when to let it out. And practice it for a little while. Don't just say, okay, we're done, move on. Let's practice a couple breaths. So 1 breath is 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Nice deep outs. We give you 3 to 4 yoga poses, and I hope they all showed up. So this one only has 2 poses. Because this is going to be something very new for your kids, you may want to start off with just 1 pose first, and then you can add the second pose later, and just so the kids start to get comfortable with it. So when you're doing the yoga, maybe for a week, you only want to do the cobra poses and just focus on cobra poses. And then the next time you can do the spinal twist, and the next time you can combine the 2. Again, it's how quickly your kids pick up on it and how they do with it. I understand, again, that some of you guys might not have the space to do yoga. Who has space to do yoga? You guys have a lot of kids, so I hope you guys have. Nice. Okay. But who doesn't have space to do yoga? So either a gym or a classroom. You guys don't. Grass? No, nothing.
I have a basketball court.
You have a basketball court. Okay, so that can get a little dangerous. Do you guys have access to yoga mats? No? No yoga mats? Okay, might be something we'll look into for you guys. We knew this was going to happen, that there were going to be some schools that may not have access. We were going to give you the option to just do cool down stretches without actually having to do the yoga, because we're aware that every school site is different. I've seen schools in San Jose that are probably as big as this whole campus, and I've seen schools that are like on a corner block. So we're going to give you some options on how to do the cool downs in case you don't have the space. If you guys can get yoga mats, I would highly suggest seeing if your school can get yoga mats for you guys if you don't have them already. It is going to be dangerous to do it on a basketball court just because of the rocks and stuff there, if kids aren't in proper yoga pose and they fall over. So just be mindful of that. Be very careful if you do try it. Anybody else say they didn't have space? You guys, I know you guys have that beautiful gym on Orange. Anybody else? No? You guys all have some kind of safe space to do it. Okay. If your school doesn't have yoga mats, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to see if I can connect some people together to see if we can get yoga mats donated to you guys, or if I can look into cheap yoga mats or something. So please, by all means, reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do for you guys. Yoga is going to be very different for the kids. The kids are not used to it. Does anybody do yoga at their sites? You guys do? Awesome.
We have a class that's mind, body, and so they
Yes.
so that's a part of it.
Yes, awesome. Do you guys have it? Because I know East Palo Alto had brought in the mindfulness from Stanford not too long ago. Awesome. The Vegas schools, LA schools, Redwood City, do you guys have any type of yoga? Have your kids ever?
We do.
You guys do?
The high school have a specified teacher that teaches it.
Nice. Okay.
It's rare, but we use it on a rainy day. when we
Okay.
have to be inside.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else? Do you know if your kids do yoga in South City?
They might do it in school.
Okay.
Or they might. I've heard of them doing the mindfulness at least.
Yeah. Awesome. So some kids, I think it's starting to become a little more popular now in the schools. I think we all have the same idea of just helping these kids learn how to de-stress. And so hopefully this is not too new to them, and they'll feel comfortable doing it. But do know that anytime the kids try something new, you're going to get some type of pushback. So I know you guys are all well aware of that. So don't push. Do it to where they feel comfortable, and then grow from there. Is my suggestion to you guys. Questions about the yoga piece? No? Okay, I'm just going to touch base with the cool down stretches, just so the two schools that said we don't really have the space to do yoga, and then that do have space, you can do cool down stretches too. It's not a problem at all. These are stretches that are focused on that match the fitness focus, so upper body and core. These are some cool down stretches that are focused on upper body and core. They have written descriptions. So this is, Ayrton, where you were saying earlier, you used to flip to the front of the book to look for descriptions. I heard your request, and look what I did for you. I put the descriptions right in there, so you don't have to flip around, you don't have to flip around anymore to look. It's right there in front of you. So we wanted to alleviate you guys having to spend time flipping and looking. We just wanted to give you everything you needed right then and there. Any questions? No? You guys are hungry, I get it. Okay, let's go to lunch till 1:30. And then when we come back, I'm gonna have you guys break out into groups and just kind of talk with other schools that are using the program already. And we can just kind of debrief and figure out what questions you guys have. I would love for you guys to just talk. So take your sample units with you, read through it, ask questions, get to know each other, share information if you have to, and just kind of go through the curriculum and talk about, like, how do you do this? How have you done this? What worked at your side? How do you kid? All right. So I hope meeting with your co-part, you guys were able to share. Let's bring it back together, guys. I have a guest speaker here. We're already kind of running behind because of our impromptu fire drill, so I definitely don't want to take up too much of his time. And he's someone that you guys really, really want to hear from, so I would like to get him up. Any questions that kind of came up? I'm going to answer Joy a question that she had asked earlier. We had talked about with the curriculum, and I apologize, Joe has his stuff up, but it's in front of you, so you'll be fine. How do you do this when you only have a 30-minute class? Joy asked, is it better to break it down by time or actually take out activities? And what I said is I would prefer you take out an activity versus cutting the time, because if you're doing an activity that the kids really enjoy, you don't want to stop them from doing that. You don't want to say, oh, sorry, we can't do tug of war anymore because We've done it for 2 minutes and now we got to move on to the next. I want the kids to enjoy it. That's how we keep their attention. So what I will say is if you only have 30 minutes, how I would break down the curriculum, always, always, always do the warm-ups. You should always warm up before you exercise. Do the warm-ups, and then what you can do you mind if I take yours? I would break it down, so do the warm-ups, and then I would break down kind of the different parts of the framework. So maybe on a Monday, you have 30 minutes, you're gonna do your warm-ups, and let's say the fitness station and the fitness game, right? Because transitions and all that, so that'll take up about 30 minutes. The next day, you wanna do warm-ups again, and then maybe instead of doing the fitness stations and game, you wanna do your obstacle course and or relay. And then the next day, because you only have 30 minutes, you wanna do warm-ups again, and maybe the PE game. So for some of you who have a short amount of time, it may take you 2, 3, a whole week to get through one class, which is kind of a good thing because then you'll be able to use this a lot longer. But that's how you could break it up. You should also always do the stretches, right? Always, always, always. We want to teach the kids to warm up and cool down. So if you have to break down your cool down maybe from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, that's fine. Your warm-ups, instead of 5 minutes, you do 3 minutes. It just depends. Everyone's time is different, so I can't say specifically, and I don't want you to hold me to anything. But if you have to break it down, take out an activity versus cutting time, unless it's like a warm-up or a cool-down. Those are kind of easy to cut times for. But again, we don't want the kids to only get 2 minutes of an obstacle course that they're really, really enjoying. We want them to enjoy themselves and have that fun time. Fitness fun, that's what I say. Does that answers your question, and I wonder if anyone else had a similar question. Adam, do you mind sharing just something you had mentioned that I thought was really, really cool that we may implement in Fit Kids at our innovation sites as well?
I do the kinder, we're on the kinder playground area. So what I did was I supplemented for like obstacle courses, we use the playground. So instead of using hurdles, I just like climb up the ladder, go down the slide, and then have the zigzag cones, and get the secondary little playground, climb up that, go down the slide, and come back. Just
nice.
Using what you have already.
Yes, 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 yes. If you work at a school, you should know that well. You use what you can, right? Anybody just want to share out ideas, some aha moments? Like I said, I hope you were able to connect. I partnered you with people that are in your region just to help, or people that are more experienced than others. But I hope you learned something from your co-part. But no questions for me?